Hello, folk. What's on the agenda today? I hear nobody ask. Well, today I'm gonna be drinking some tea, going over my Animal Crossing island. As you will soon see, I really try to coordinate my outfit with my villager because we are one. So saying that I'm obsessed with Animal Crossing might be a bit of an understatement. If you take a look at my play activity on my Switch, you can see that I have logged over 420 hours on Animal Crossing alone. So I have a bit of a problem. But what that resulted in is an island that I am very proud of. So this video is definitely long overdue because I haven't changed my island in quite some time. I am going to try and switch things up for fall, even though fall is practically over already. But I really designed my island with summer in mind, so you will see a lot of like summer components that might not necessarily translate into the fall, like an obnoxious number of pools. So Animal Crossing's New Horizons is actually not the first Animal Crossing game I've played, but the first Animal Crossing game that I own. So back when Wild World was out, I actually shared a cartridge with my friend on our DS, and we would sort of like take turns playing, and a lot of times it was kept over at her house, so I would have to like go over to like play, but sometimes I would be able to borrow it. So it was just like a really rocky area of I love the game, but it's not quite mine and I can't play it all the time. But every time I play New Horizons, I'm sort of like brought back to that moment, and I remember the UI just so vividly. And I actually ended up getting my Switch for Animal Crossing specifically. As you can see, I got the limited edition, like Animal Crossing themed Switch. So yeah, I am a bit obsessed. So before I get started on another tangent, I think we should jump into the game and see my island. Euro says hi. Alright, so first things first, let's take a look at my map. So I wanted to introduce you to my lovely residence. So here is me. Here's the character that I based off of my brother, but really I just wanted a second house on the island so that I could build a hotel. Then now to my villagers. Alright, so Marshall is the love of my life. He is the cutest freaking squirrel ever, and he brings so much joy to my life. And yeah, I want to say that he's my favorite, but literally every single one of my residents is my favorite, so I don't want to play favorites here. I can't. And then I have the lovely Sherb. I also have Fauna, Pashmina, Snake, who is such a riot, Diana, Fang, who is legally my husband. We held our marriage a couple months ago during wedding season. It was beautiful. Everyone attended, so it's great. Raymond, the most sought after villager. I am incredibly lucky to have him on my island, and he's just such a great addition. Dom, my lovely jock. So I absolutely love the concept of jocks on Animal Crossing because they are literally the definition of himbos. They are kind, sweet, they talk about exercise all the time, and I would like to think that they think about nothing but working out. So if this is what Animal Crossing intended, then I fully support it. And then finally we have Filbert. So okay, I know I literally said earlier that I wasn't gonna play favorites, but Filbert is my favorite Animal Crossing villager. He was actually one of the first residents that I got on my island, but because he was one of the firsts, he got the ugly starter homes with like the dirt flooring, because I know how cute Filbert's house is and the layout is just so adorable. So I actually caved in and I bought his amiibo card so that I could have him leave my island and then have me bring him back. So yeah, that's sort of why he's at the end of my list as being my most recent versus the place where he actually belongs, which is on top as my number one. You can see a little sneak preview of my map and also my dream address if you want to come visit. Alright, so let's get started. So as you walk out of the airport, you're immediately met with two paths. So one goes into the shopping district and the other technically to Raymond's house. So let's walk this way. So this is kind of like the town center. I worked my ass off to get these statues, and so I thought that this sort of like semi-maze like layout was really nice and cool. And then as you go over here, a little park area, and then we have Raymond's humble abode. So I've sort of like matched his personality with the layouts, with like the books, the coffee, because, well, we can't see the interior of his house, but it is based off of an office. So I thought I would give him some really cool outdoorsy office space so that he wouldn't be cooped up inside all the time. And then as you head down here, this is a beach area. My lovely snake. He calls me Mountain. I actually have a story about Mountain. So I had this islander on my island named Bam, and when he had asked if he could call me Mountain, I genuinely didn't know how nicknames work, and I didn't realize that having him call me Mountain would have the entirety of my island call me Mountain, and I was so infuriated by the fact that I was called Mountain by every single person that I had to have Bam leave my island immediately. So, and to this day, he is still my most hated villager. Anyways, let's move on. So, over here, a lovely campfire area, and then a lounge area that extends into a space for musical guests to attend. So sort of like a beachside resort situation. And over here we have a cafe. Wait, let me shoot that balloon down. Can I reach it? Can I reach it? Can I? No! No, how do I do this? Oh, I feel like it's not gonna work. Oh well, okay, this is fine. So yeah, shaved ice machine, some coconut water, very beachside cafe vibes. Another space for music, because every cafe needs an area for live music. And if you go over the top here, this is my house. Yes, so I have my lovely garden with a lot of flowers. I have a poolside area, a nice picnic spot. This is my workshop. This is where I build, keep my supplies. Let me just wash my hands real quick. Alright. And then as you come over here, you can see that I'm growing pumpkins for those fall recipes. And KK's here today, but this is the town center. I've got a fruit of every kind on the side. Filbert, the love of my life. He complimented my fashion sense. And then as you cross over to this side, oh, you didn't see that weed. You didn't see that weed. So here we have a little playground. I have a lot of small park areas. And then as you head down here, this is an outdoor market. I base it off of clothes because I love clothes. My husband. Yeah. And as you can see here, this is the shopping area. So I have a little cafe out front. Abel's in the back here. Nook's Cranny with a diner outside. I think one of the most important things that I learned while decorating the island is that, like, don't be afraid to just fill up space. So, I mean, you only need a certain amount of blocks to walk. So rather than having large blank areas, why not fill them in with like shelves or stalls and etc. So I absolutely love this area and I think it turned out really well. And as you go down here, this is a little beachside rental area where you can rent surfboards, you can get some shaved ice, some fishing rods. And yeah. And then if you go here, this is an area that I expanded into the beach. So this is Dom's house. I decided to really give him that living outdoors kind of vibe. So he can like relax, be in his kiddie pool, lie on the hammock. He dries his clothes outside. Just, there's a solar panel in the back, just really embracing the outdoor living. And then if you come, oh, there he is. And if you come down here, another sort of beachside relaxation area. And then you have my dock, which you can have picnics out there. Alright, and if you head up from his house, you'll see that it leads to the campsite. So I wanted the transition to be smooth, so that's why there's a lot of sort of like outdoorsy influences all around here. So you see the campfire, there's some barbecue, very like middle of the forest kind of vibe, even though the forest is very small. You can hear the radio playing, and then besides there, this is the place for our campsite guests to relax, even though they never leave their tent. Another kiddie pool right next to the ocean, because when I put that there, you couldn't swim quite yet. And as you come over here, this is a little residential area. So Pashmina and Diana live here. And as you can see, I gave them some outdoor common areas, a place for barbecues. And yeah, just a little great housing complex, I guess you could say. Then as you head up, this is another mini housing complex. So this is where the lovely Sherb lives. And if you go into his backyard, because he loves bugs, I decided to put that there. Space for him to relax under the tree. And then if you come around back, you have Marshall and Fauna. So I sort of wanted these three houses to be at least a little bit symmetrical. So, and they are also the same layout of houses. How I chose villagers was actually based on one, their, I guess, animal type, and two, their houses, because I wanted my island to be symmetrical and perfect, so we can't have round houses with square houses. And I also have a pair of every single, not every single, but so every resident on my island has sort of like a matching animal counterpart, such as both Marshall and Filbert being squirrels, both Pashmina and Sherb being goats, and so on. Except for Fang. Fang is in solitude because he is my husband, so he doesn't need a counterpart. Anyways, alright, let's head over to this side. So, there's Pashmina. So here we have a little ping pong space area, because this is the Asian part of my island. So if you go up, I have a dim sum restaurant. And as you go back down here, a little bathhouse. And this is a bamboo garden that eventually leads into a Zen rock garden. And as you head back down here, this is another park-like space for my residents to chill out, have some picnics, and hang out amongst themselves. So here's also where the pear and cherry orchids are. And if you head back here, this is a little maze area that I've created that leads you to my secret beach. So here is the secret beach, and I placed a little piano here so that I can serenade to Red whenever he is around. So let's take a secret shortcut over to Fang's house. So It is slightly incomplete. I did want to build him a secret fairy garden back here because I thought that that would be really cute. There's so many weeds, oh my gosh. So I'm hoping that when I'm able to get some mushroom DIYs and stuff, I can really start filling up this space with some fairy garden vibes. Then as you head out, and when you head down here, this is the pizzeria, aka CPK. Oh my gosh, I actually totally forgot to tell you guys the name of my island. So I named my island Guam after the island where I grew up. And so actually a lot of the places are references to places on Guam. So CPK, the hotel in which my brother resides in is called PIC. And so I really just wanted my other home to be represented in my, I guess, secondary home because I mean, based on the amount of time I spent on Animal Crossing, it might as well be my other home. And as you head down here, this is my little secret bamboo zen garden. And you can hop over to the town hall. Alright, let's head back up. And so as you head up here, this is the museum area. I have an outdoor exhibit, some vending machines, some stalls for, I don't know, a research field trip that kids can take on my island. And if you hop over here, a little park. Is it a park? I guess I could call it a park. Yeah. So I really did some extreme terraforming in this area, as you can see from the rivers and cliffs, and how I try to be cool, but they turned out just a tad messy. But I think that the view is probably still fine, and you can hop over to different places. Yeah. There's actually an island, or not island per se, but there's actually an area down there that I guess just isn't visible based on how I laid out everything. But alright, so let's let's not go over there yet. Alright, and so behind the museum is two symmetrical staircases because you know how much I love symmetry. So as you go up, this is a little stargazing area that is full of weeds. Chock full of weeds. Some wind turbines, because we need renewable energy. You can see the Statue of Liberty in the distance. Just a call out for New York, even though this is an island in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. Once again, solar energy. I try to keep things as sustainable as possible here. So this is Filbert's house. I placed him at the very back because he is the light of my life. And this was where I was trying to farm gold roses, and so I sort of have it as a little garden area / tool shed place. Here we have the gym. I actually built the gym up here because I had a jock who lived up here for a moment, but then I had Filbert move in, and the blue of his house actually matched the blue gates really, really well, even though he's a lazy villager and will not be using the gym. Alright, and then a place for tourists to view things. Alright, let's get to the other side. So as you walk down here, we have Snake's house. So he is, I guess, based off of a ninja. So his house has that very sort of Japanese inspired decor, and so I thought I'd match the outside of his house as well. So we've got some bamboo, some stone ponds, pots, etc. And then as you head down, this is my little waiting area with gold roses. If I hop over here, you can see sort of like the mini island area that I was talking about that you really cannot see anywhere else. Alright, and then as we head over here, this is the actual foresty area, I guess. Then, alright, let's head up and make a circle back down, because this is the wedding venues. So this is a little area that I felt like would be great for proposals, and this is where I proposed to Fang, of course. And then you have the all-white instruments here, and then as you head up, this is where the wedding reception is held. So you've got some dining tables, the cake, the arch. So it was a great party. I think fondly back into it. Yeah. And then let's head back down again. So here you have a market street. So here there's a lot of like outdoor stands where like vintage shopping meets yard sale. So this is like very much Japanese inspired as well. And yeah, and as you head down, this is the resort. And as you can see over here, I have a little space for you to buy swimming clothes, a changing room, to really have this whole space be like a hotel's property. So you walk in and the first thing you see is, of course, the gift shop. So it's a place for you to shop and buy whatever it is your heart desires. And then back here you have the wedding reception area. It actually took me an obnoxious amount of time to be able to get all the heart crystals and complete this, but I managed to do it. So this is where the hotel's restaurant prepares its food and brings it to its guests. I have the whole story for this hotel like ready. So the upstairs and downstairs isn't quite complete yet, but both of those are essentially going to be dining spaces. So down there is going to be sort of like an aquarium, private date night kind of situation, while the top is sort of like a rooftop restaurant slash bar. So that's going to be really, really fun. I did consider making upstairs like the actual hotel area, so sort of like have bedding and stuff like that. But then I could only make one room, and that feels like not worth it. Alright. And finally, we arrive through a secret entrance that only I know to my house. So, besides my house is a little area for I am stuck on this chair. Okay. And then we have a little, sort of like another playground here, because I definitely do all the sports. And finally, let's go in. Alright, so first we have my living space. So you've got couch, TV, my Animal Crossing Switch, a little mini fridge on the side with the lucky cat. Back here, my record player. And then here is a little bit of a study space for me. Have some electronics, books, notes, etc. And then when you head this way, this is my playroom. So you got a picture of Marshall there, because we love him. Hammock for you to relax right by the window. More music. A little kitchenette space if you need a snack. Then over here we have my kitchen. So I have here like an old-fashioned furnace, a place for me to bake pizza, a pizza oven, a rice cooker because absolutely essential. Place for me to make coffee. Honestly, sometimes the scale of objects in this game always throw me off because that cake is as large as my face. Is that allowed? But then I guess at the same time, objects are also just very tiny compared to my head. And the back room. So this is the bathroom. I have a marble statue here because I have too many statues. Yeah, just like a really classy, high-end bathroom. So upstairs you have, yes, you can see Fang in the corner. So the decor for this room is very heavily inspired by Fang's interior. So he is a cranky villager, which he isn't like cranky at all, but I guess that just means that they're like an old soul, and I'm also an old soul. So they have a lot of the antique style furniture, so I sort of like matched it with the antique closets, a lot of like the wood patterns, like a grand piano. Yeah, so essentially everything in here is from like the antique series. And then over here we have like a vanity, lovely place for me to write love letters. And yeah, just have I feel like every single room in my house has like a different vibe. But you know what? I feel like they work. And finally, the final room. So this is a secret bathhouse at the bottom in my basement. Yeah, and I think I saw an Animal Crossing tour, and someone's house had like this kind of like Japanese bathhouse at the bottom, and I was like, I want that, so I went and made it myself. And so that's my island. Euro out. Honestly, I have to say that Animal Crossing New Horizons has to be my favorite Animal Crossing, mainly because I think that the sort of like online social aspect of it created this whole like ecosystem of Animal Crossing players that has just like never happened in any other game before, where you have places like Nookazon and sort of like Discord places where people are like trading, actively talking to each other. And while on one hand, capitalism is very bad, and there are a lot of people who take advantage of people by sort of like selling things at very high prices and profiting off of like cheats or like other people's time, and it's just like a very insane situation to think that it all happens in some kind of virtual world. But I feel like it also gives people the opportunity to sort of like interact, to get things that you weren't able to get before, and I feel like I've made a lot of friends while in the Animal Crossing community, and it's just been really fun sort of like trading. And I especially love the stock market, because as corrupt as it might be, it really did give me a chance to sort of like trade my time to be able to pay off my house really quickly and like build things up really quickly without necessarily having to sort of like grind fishing to make money. So I think that having this like secondary like economic system outside of the game is truly fascinating, and honestly one of the best parts of this game. So I guess with that said, I need to get back into that business grind and start working on getting my island ready for the fall. Thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you next week.